أبونا أنت. نقبل إيدي أبونا دانيال.
نقبل قدسك يا أبي.
وحشنا كتير خالص 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 يا أبي.
كمان يا أبي، يعني الجملة بتاعت يكفيني مجرد النظر إليك يا أبي دي تنطبق على قدسك وعلى أبونا أنتوني. طبعا كل
اتقابلتوا قبل كده مع بعض ولا ما اتقابلتوش مع أبونا أنتوني؟
عزمنا أبونا أنتوني مرة يكلم الشباب اون زوم برضه.
يا عيني يا عيني يا عيني. طيب طيب، واحنا قاعدين كده طيب زي بعض. عرفوا بعض لسه هبتدي بقى أعرف وبتاع.
لا أبونا دانيال ده ربنا يخليك أبويا.
عيش يا أبي،
كتر خيرك على محبتك الكبيرة لينا.
العفو يا أبونا قدسك وأبونا جورج، يعني باركتونا في اجتماع الشباب، دي بركة كبيرة.
أبونا بس قدسك زوم، أنت ما شفتش هوسبيتاليتي بقى لما تروح كده إن بيرسون يعني. أبونا دانيال من أصلا من الجيزة، والجيزة بيتميزوا إن هم يعني مدرسة علمت، يعني كانوا بيلر، يعني بقول كانوا أخطيت يعني، بس يعني
لا العفو يا أبي، صح.
لكن هو فعلا الجيزة كانت البيت بتاع الجيزة بالذات يعني، وطبعا المطرانية بيلر، كانوا يعني بيلر كده، يعني خرج الكنيسة يعني أجيال وأجيال، كانوا مشهورين جدا يعني.
نعمة كبيرة الواحد يعني اتمتع بالآباء الحلوين وبالخدام الحلوين.
يعني كان معانا من أسبوعين أبونا يوحنا نصيف. أبونا يوحنا نصيف برضو يعني من تلامذة طبعا الثلاثة.
أبونا جورج خطيت، احنا مش سامعين قدسك، مش عارف ليه.
فجأة
الصوت راح كده فجأة.
يمكن صعدت.
ايوه سمعناها دي.
فبقول الثلاث اباء بتوع اسكندريه كانوا بيلر، ابونا بشوي، ابونا لوقا، وابونا تدرس طول العمر. وطبعا والجيزه كانوا نفس القامه بنفس القوه يعني. فيعني ابونا يوحنا نصيف يعني عيشنا مع اباء اسكندريه. ابونا دانيال هيعيشنا مع يعني احلى طبعا ذكريات العمر، وطبعا والجيزه وحلاوه الجيزه كلها يعني. Thank you so much Abby for being with us tonight. يعني it is a great blessing يعني. Thank you so much.
البلاسنج ليا يعني، انا
لا
ما استاهلش ابقى في وسط الاباء الحلوين بتوعته.
تعيش يا ابو، ربنا يخليك. اتفضل يا ابي.
احنا هنبتدي على طول في الكلمه على طول يا ابي.
احنا قلتلك يعني بنصلي صلوه صغيره ونكلم على طول، وفي الاخر يعني يكون في يعني مناقشه مع قدسك بقى في الكلمه يعني. في عاده افاده بالنسبه لي اكيد يعني.
طب حد قدسك او ابونا انتوني يصلوا، عشان ما دام انا هتكلم يبقى في تعاون يعني.
خلاص انا قلت الحته بتاعتي يا ابونا انتوني، اتفضل بقى. ما اعرفش اعمل اكتر من كده.
حلوني يا باقي.
حلو من فم قدسك.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. O heavenly King, the Comforter, the Spirit of truth, who is present everywhere and fills all, graciously come and abide in us, O good one. Purify us of all iniquities and save our souls. Through the intercessions of your Holy Virgin Mother, Saint Mary, and all the saints who have pleased you since the beginning, and through the prayers and the blessings of my fathers, please, Lord, accept our prayers, bless our gatherings. Speak on the mouth of your servant, Father Daniel, that he may speak to us a word of wisdom, a word of hope, a word of encouragement, Lord, and make us worthy to pray thankfully. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Christ Jesus our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
طيب حلوني يا أبي. أنا فهمت من أبونا جورج إن الكلمة هتبقى in English، مش كده؟ صح؟ يا أبي. طيب أنا طبعا الموضوع الجميل اللي أبونا قال لي عليه، اللي هم couple of verses from the Sermon on the Mountain, verse 3 and verse 4. so we can read them, and then we can see what the Spirit is going to send us tonight. It says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. A couple of verses are so beautiful. I'm not sure if anyone made the connection between all the blessings in Matthew 5 and the curses in Matthew 23. Those are 8 and those are 8. And you will find a very strong connection between both of them. So one is telling us, I'm going to be blessed if I do this. And unfortunately, I'm going to be cursed if I do this. Or as our Lord Jesus said, woe to you. Of course, we all want to hear, blessed are those. So he started the first one, blessed are the poor in spirit. And when I tried to look for what the poor in spirit mean, most of the fathers said it means to be humble, to be down to earth, to feel like as if I'm nothing. I'm not haughty, I'm not proud person. And why did he start with this one? Because once I'm humble, I am on God's side. If I'm proud, I will be on the other side of God. Because God, the only people that God said he's going to resist is, he said, God resists the proud. So from the get-go, I need to see where I'm at. Because if I'm proud of my work, my service, I always feel like I need someone to thank me or to cheer up for me or to say compliments about my service, about my sermon, about the way I prepare a trip, the way I serve in general. I will be in trouble because I won't be on God's side. That's why I believe he started with this one, the poor in spirit. And that's why he started having enmity with the hypocrites, the Pharisees and the scribes, because they didn't want this. They wanted to be rich. They want to be famous. They wanted to be proud and well known. They wanted to have everyone greeting them, to the extent that they used to have those small bells in their robes. So whenever they walk in the streets, everyone will notice that they are here, which is, they got a lot of woe to you, or you are serpents. Our Lord Jesus never cursed anyone, but he couldn't stand those people because they weren't poor in spirit. And let's try to analyze what poor in spirit means. Basically, it's like, are we real? Are we really seeking God's glory, or we're seeking men's glory? I'm seeking approval from God or approval from men. I'm looking for people's approval or feeling content with or satisfied with my service, or I'm looking only for God to look from high above and say, well done, faithful servant. Blessing means it comes with a promise. So it's really sounds like it's contradicting when he says, blessed are the poor in spirit, but the reward is they're gonna inherit, or for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed anyone who is really humble, even if we are sinners. Sometimes when we sin, God allows this to happen. I'm not approving of sinning, but I'm saying sometimes it happens So I can feel weak and I can feel humble. It's very humbling experience if I'm serving the Lord and well known, and people hear my sermons or tell me, commending my service, no matter what service it is, that I feel small when I sin. I feel weak, and I wish that no one would know my sin. It reminds me of a story of a person who thought of himself as a good person, and then he had a vision or a dream that he is locked in a room, and this room is full of cabinets and drawers and files and stuff. So at the beginning, he didn't know what this room represents. So he started opening cabinet by cabinet, drawer by drawer, and file by file. And once he started reading, he found like everything he had done from the time when he was young till this time is full of stories. And when he started reading, he found that those stories are representing his life. Every word he said, every action he did, whether good or bad. And then, of course, he was so proud when he saw that he did something good, but not all files were good. So he started feeling ashamed and wished for nothing but no one would enter this room and see those files. But unfortunately, he heard like footsteps coming out of the door towards him. And then he started noticing that those footsteps are not from a stranger, but from someone who he wished that he will never, the only one he wished that he will never see those files. And it was, of course, our Lord Jesus. But he comforted him coming close, and he started pulling file by file and reading each one. And he was so ashamed, especially with the bad ones. And then he found something very strange that Jesus did. It's not strange for our Lord Jesus, but for him. Because after he read every file, he started erasing the name of that person and signing his name, as if Jesus himself did all those filthy and mistakes and all the sinning by the eye and by thoughts and by words, everything he did and he was ashamed of. And he started screaming and saying, Lord, don't do this. You have not done any of this. It's all my fault. But he said, that's what I've done on the cross, to erase your name and put my name. And I took all the filth of the world, all the sins of the world, and put it on me. So as if I did all of this. So he felt, instead of feeling proud at the beginning of the story or the vision, of course, it's maybe a symbolic story, but he started feeling humble, that no matter how good I am or how good my service is, I always fall short. So being poor in spirit, feeling like I'm not good enough. I'm only good in the eyes of God because He is good, because He's allowing me to enter the kingdom of heaven. I'm not worthy of it, but through His blood, because He took my sin, I am worthy now to enter the kingdom of heaven or to live it from here. Also, even if I'm innocent, I didn't do anything. Sometimes God allow me to go through rough times just to feel humble, because it's good for me. I remember when Saint Macarius the Great was accused that he committed adultery with a woman and he had a son from her. Of course, it was not true, but they came and accused him and started cursing him and started saying all bad stuff you can imagine, you can name it. What he did was really surprising for us, but not for him, for his character. He started saying, work hard, Macari, because now you have a wife or a woman to take care of, and you have a son as well. And he started working hard and feeling humble, because in the eyes of men, he was at fault. And afterwards, when they discover what happened, they came to give him the honor. He ran away. He said, I won't be poor in spirit at that time. I'm scared. I can bear false accusation. I can take it because it's going to put me down to earth. It's going to make me humble. But I can't take the glory because it's going to make me a proud person and I'm going to lose it all. His goal, and it should be my goal as well, if we are focusing on God, if we are focusing on the kingdom of heaven. That's why the poor in spirit are going to inherit, or the kingdom of heaven is going to be theirs. It's going to be mine, and no one can take them from me. So God have this balance. Whenever he feels like I'm going to be proud, it's exactly like what St. Paul felt when he got this thorn in the flesh, and he started praying for it 3 times. And God said, no, I'm not going to remove it. It's good for you. You see, you are dealing with the spirit, preventing you from going to a city, from service here and opening a door in here, but talking, seeing visions and talking with the spirit. God is leading your way. People are being baptized and getting to know Jesus through you. It's great, but I'm scared that you're gonna lose sight. So I have to get you something to pull you down. I don't want you to be proud and lose all what you have done and not to be in my side. Why would they inherit the kingdom? Simply because that's what they are seeking. The poor in spirit will seek the kingdom of heaven, but the rich in spirit, or the people who are proud, are going to seek something else. Normally, they're going to look into people. Did I do something good? You notice it. Some people always looking for approval from men. Abuna, did I do well today? How was the trip? Did you like my voice today when I was singing? Whatever. Did you like the meal that we prepare after liturgy? I always want someone to commend me. So I'm not seeking God's glory, but I'm seeking men's glory, and that's completely different. So if I'm poor in spirit, my goal will be on God himself, not on people. And that's very obvious from the story that Jesus said about the Pharisee and tax collector. When they were both praying, someone was so proud of himself. I fast twice a week. You have to remember this. When you read the books at the end of the days, you have to mention this. I'm not like this bad person. I'm not a sinner. I give, I pray, I do, I serve. As if I'm giving God something that he doesn't deserve. Unlike the tax collector, he took aside and he was ashamed. He couldn't even lift up his eyes to heaven. And he said, I'm not like that man. I'm sorry. I messed up big time. But have mercy on me because I'm a sinner. And that's when he went home justified before God. Is it something that I'm seeking, to be justified before God, or justified before the servants, before the head servants, before Abuna, before the bishop, before whoever is there watching my service? When we are scared, we are poor in spirit. I remember also when Jacob was running from his brother, he was so humble. He said, God, I'm scared. I'm frightened from Esau. Can you help me here? And he got the blessing, and he got one time he saw this vision with angels around going up and down, and he got comforted. One time he started dealing with God, and God gave him the honor of overcoming him. Likewise, many stories in the Bible. David, when he was the youngest, he wasn't even invited to have a bite with his brothers and his father when Samuel the prophet came to anoint one of his kids. He wasn't. They didn't even care to say, "Come and have a bite with us." When he asked, "Do you have any more sons?" he said, "Only the youngest, but he's shepherding the sheep." This youngest was the one who was chosen to fight Goliath and to bring victory to Israel, because he was feeling young. He was feeling that he's not worthy to go to the army with his big brothers. Unlike when he became a king, you see, the poor in spirit, God made him the one who overcame Goliath and brought victory to Israel. But when he became a king and there was a battle, he didn't do his job. He felt like, I'm done, I'm the king, I should stay in the palace, and they fight for me. At that time, he had the biggest fall of his life. The poor in spirit always feel, I need God to depend on him. It's like also David when he was running away from King Saul. He was running away from him, and he said, I am a worm, I'm a dead dog. Why are you running after me? The king of Israel is running after me. And that's when he started singing the best psalms of his life, and wrote us things that we, for generations after him, and maybe till the end of the days, people is gonna sing what King David wrote for us. Being also humble or poor in spirit doesn't mean that I look down to people. I'm down already. If I feel down, if I feel I'm nothing, or many people are better than me, I won't be able to look down to people because I'm lower than them. A nice story too about a woman who was like coming from a village, and for the first time of her life, their family got her a plane ticket to go and visit them and see her grandkids. So first time to be in the plane, so she was excited, but she was so scared. She didn't want to mess up or show that she doesn't know what to do, especially when they offer her something to eat. So they got her this plate, and part of it was a white cake. So because she've never seen something like this before, she thought she's cheese. And she started opening the bread and put the cake inside the cheese and started biting. Once she started having the first bite, she knew it's not cheese, it's something sweet. And maybe she shouldn't have done this. She embarrassed herself. Beside her was a guy, but he was poor in spirit. He noticed this, but without any comment, without laughing, without mocking her, without anything. He took his cake and put it inside the cheese. Of course, he knew it was a cake, but he put it inside and started taking a bite. And then he started laughing at himself. He said to the woman, why didn't you tell me? It's cake, it's not cheese. And they started laughing about it. She said, I did the same mistake. When we are poor in spirit, we respect people. We are sensitive towards people. But when we are proud, we look down to others, and started commenting on their actions, or their behavior. That's why he said, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And one question before going to the other verse. Does it mean that I have to wait till the end of the days to inherit the kingdom of heaven? Of course not, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I can taste it now. I can enjoy life now. I can make people feel good about themselves now. I can be a pleasant person to be around now. And that's the kingdom of heaven. Because where God is, where love is, God is. And that's where the kingdom of heaven is. The following verse, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. If I'm poor in spirit, definitely I'm gonna have times of mourning. I'm gonna feel bad at certain times. People are gonna put me down, and maybe people are gonna take advantage of me. Maybe I'm not gonna be well respected before other servants, maybe. So there's gonna be time of mourning when I feel I'm left alone. Or where is God in my pain? Why don't I experience him? Why don't I see his hands as he used to show me? But the paradox, mourning but comforted. It's beautiful. It's like the verse in Psalm 94, verse 19. It says, in the multitude of my anxieties within me, your comforts delight my soul. It doesn't match, doesn't make sense. What do you mean, the multitude of my anxieties? If you've seen, or if you dealt, or you had times of anxiety, you would know that it's very painful. I'm worried all the time. I'm always anxious. I'm always I'm not resting in the Lord. I always anxious for anything, even if there is a light that will show. All of a sudden, it will make me anxious. Loud voices will make me anxious. Things that maybe I'm not used to. Any event, it will make me anxious. So in the multitude of these anxieties, it's not only one or two, a multitude of them. Within me, they are inside me. Your comforts delight my soul. It's exactly the opposite. Multitude of anxieties, but it delights, your comforts delight my soul. Can you be happy while you are having so many anxieties within you? That's what we notice with the stories of the martyrs. They are taking their heads off. They are torturing them. Sometimes when I'm confessing before my fathers, but general confession, public confession. It's sometimes when I'm reading the stories in the Synaxarium, I can't stand them. I can't tell them. Like sometimes I skip few lines. It's horrifying what they did to them. But the amazing thing that many people, Roman soldiers and other people who were watching, they used to believe in God and offer their souls for God till bloodshed, because just they have seen them. One of the things that I read during the persecution era, that some of those Roman soldiers, they were paying each other money. They bribe each other to ask the other person, you kill him this time. This Christian, no, I'm not gonna kill him. You kill him. I'm gonna give you money. I'm gonna invite you later on a meal or something, but you kill him this time. I said, I can't do it, because of the glory they had, because the delight or the comforts that the Lord is giving them, that delight their souls. So it's true. Some of us saw the video of those 21 martyrs looking like lions, steadfast, looking to heaven, and I don't know what they were seeing, what visions, what comfort, but they were strong in faith. I don't know if we are exposed to such a thing, we're going to be like them or no. And they were all simple people. Someone who's a painter, someone who's a worker. They just went to Libya just to get some money for their poor families. But they were so strong. And I don't think they were not comforted by the Lord. I don't think their strength, they got it from themselves, but they got it from high above. There is a saying or a quote that Pope Kyrillos the Sixth used to say, and also he got it, I believe, from Saint Isaac the Syrian. He said, prayer to a great grace, there is a great tribulation or trial. So if we're going through a great trial or tribulation, that means there is a great grace coming our way. So if we're going through this multitude of anxieties, definitely the comfort of the Lord is going to delight our souls. Our Lord said also, when a woman is in labor, it's very painful. I don't think any man would be able to go through this. But God gave her the strength to give birth to babies. But when she sees the baby, when she holds the baby, all the pain will go away. She will just remember the comfort, the delight, the joy of having her baby in her arms. That's exactly our life. Those who are mourning, they're going to be comforted. That's a promise. And God never take away his promises. He always faithful to give us what he promised. But which kind of mourning? Sometimes we mourn, we feel sad for stuff that's not worthy, for our dignity, for our pride, for our for something materialistic. I lost the promotion. They gave it to someone. They were racist. They put me down because someone has connections. I lost a loved one, or there is someone who's dear to me is going through sickness or had COVID-19 or something like this. And I start mourning for those people. You know, I'll tell you something. I'm not sure if my fathers have gone through the same, but after ordination, my ordination, during the 40 days, there was a monk that's teaching us the liturgy and the hymns and stuff, and the order of the liturgy. And then there was a part when he told us about the unction of the sick sacrament. And he said, you know what? The unction of the sick has two parts in one prayer. He said, the first part, I encourage you to say it out loud. But the second part, please don't say it out loud. And I didn't know what he's talking about till he started to explain. He said, the first part, when you say, this person who is sick, we know, Lord, that you can heal him. And if he had done any sin, his sins may be forgiven. Say this part out loud. But the second part, don't say it out loud. What is the second part? But if your will for him to depart and go to you, let it be. He said, don't say it. People are going to be very upset with you. And at that time, I don't know, normally I'm a quiet person, but at that time I couldn't hold it. I said, I won't be able to do this. I said, why? I said, because we're cheating people. We can't tell God what to do. We can't tell him, only you heal him. Only you forgive his sins. Of course, forgiveness of sins is a great thing, but we can't just put God in a corner. Well, you're my God if you heal him, but if you take him, you're not mine. We can't do this. I remember I had the blessing of going with the youth to mission trips to Africa, And one of the times when we were in Africa, in Kenya, towards the last few days, one Kenyan guy gave me a piece of paper with a name on it, and he said, Abuna, can you please pray for this person? Out of curiosity, I just asked him what's wrong with him. He said he had AIDS, and he's in just last few days of his life. And also out of curiosity, I asked him, what do you want me to pray for? If I ask anyone, most probably he's going to say to be healed. So the guy gave me a speech. It was very short, but he told me, God is able to heal him, but we don't tell God what to do. He tells us what he wants to do. If he wants to heal him, we believe that he has the ability to do so, even the last few days of his life. But if he doesn't, we ask for strength, that he go through the pain. It's so painful. That's what I heard during the last few days. So may God give him the strength till he depart in peace. He said, blessed are you. I haven't seen faith like this. It's very rare to feel like people are comforted, that they are in good hands, in safe hands. My question, why not comforted now? Sometimes we feel we have to go through pain, we have to go through tribulation, we have to mourn now, and maybe at the end of the days, our reward is going to be in heaven. No. God said they are going to be comforted now. The soul is going to be comforted. When we are mourning now for the lost soul, for those who don't know Jesus yet, when we mourn for them, when we kneel down before God for them, we're going to be comforted. God is going to say, now you're like me. You have the same heart. He's going to tell us what he said to King David. I searched his heart and he found his heart like him. He's going to say, you have my heart. We are working together. We are laboring with God. Our fellow worker is God because we have the same mind. I'm not sure if you can see the picture behind me. This one. I'm not sure if it's clear. We got it from a monastery in Germany for Mother Basilia Schling, and it's the famous picture in there. It's about a shepherd who's crowned with a crown of thorns, and he has a lamb around his shoulders. And he started saying so many beautiful contemplations about this. They said, no, the shepherd wanted to show the lamb how much he loves him. So every time he would pull him towards him. So of course, when he pulled him hard towards him, the head is going to be connected to the head of the shepherd, and he's going to feel the thorns, and he's going to feel the pain. So he would maybe say, and then the shepherd will feel his pain and say, okay, I'm going to relax a little bit. I'm going to release you a little bit. But the lamb would say, no, please hold me tight. I want to feel that I'm in your bosom. I want to feel that I'm close to you. And after a while, he won't feel the pain, but he will feel the love. And after a while, no one would notice this crown of thorns is for the shepherd or for the lamb. They're going to be both feel the same pain, but the same comfort that I am in his bosom. And because they are so tied together, knitted together, their minds are going to be alike, the way they think. That's why you feel like someone like Pope Cyril VI, when someone would go to him, you'd say, okay, I know that's God's will. Go for a woman, go and you'll have a child. Next year, bring him here. You're going to succeed in your exam. You're going to do well in the interview. He knew what's happening. And one of the stories that I just read about a guy who came to him complaining, saying, Sayyidina, they fired me from my work. I got laid off. And I have a family and I have kids and stuff, and I don't know what to do. He said, good. He said, I'm telling you, they fired me. What do you mean good? And Pope Kyrillos said, it's for your kids. Thank God, it's for your kids. And the guy just was puzzled. What are you saying? For my kids? I don't have anything, any means to provide for them. So after a while, he was working on those big boats, trading boats and stuff. And then everyone who's working on that big boat, it sank and everyone drowned. And he was wondering, how did Pope Cyril knew about this? And he went to him and told him about this. He told him, I told you, it's for your kids. God kept you safe for your kids. So when we become close to God, we know how he thinks, and we start to think like him. And like what the saying, great minds think alike. So my mind will be great if I come close to God. One of the most asked questions, I think all my fathers may agree with me and know, whenever we are talking, especially to grads, maybe university youth, they always ask, how can I know God's will? Which university to go to? Which program? Which job? Which partner? How would I know God's will? I, in my mind, I always say, you will never know God's will unless you come closer to God, unless you know him so he can talk to your heart, unless you have quiet time. Poor is the servant, or it's very rough for a servant who doesn't have quiet time in his life. He doesn't spend time with God only. Not the time when I'm preparing a lesson, or not the time when I'm saying my Agbeya prayers, or I attend a liturgy. Of course, those are great, or reading my daily prayer. But when I sit quietly, just listening to his voice, so he can talk to my heart. Sometimes we ask for many things, for the list of things that never get shorter, but get longer. And I ask and I ask and I ask, and then I leave the room right away, as if God was telling me, you ask for so many things, just wait, I want to tell you, but I don't have time. Sometimes we think that prayer is that when I talk to God, but it's a two-way relationship. I talk to him and I listen to him. We need to practice listening to God. So blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted here and up there, not only up there. It's not like I have to be tortured here and I have to just zip it, suck it up, because up there I'm going to be rewarded. No, I won't be able to endure this unless there is comforting from God. So the comforting is now and up there. And sometimes there is periods of pain. And that's when I need to trust that in the fullness of time, God will stretch out his hands, his mighty hands, and pull me out of this misery. It's exactly what we say in Tasbihah. Those like martyrs are gonna come holding their tortures, while righteous are gonna come holding their virtues. What I'm gonna carry before God? What I'm gonna show him? Is it that I mourn for you? I mourn for others. I mourn for those who were very low in their lives. I remember something I heard from Abuna Tadrus Ya'ub Malati. He was talking about a guy who was a very good servant in the church, and Abuna loved him very much. And he was very alert and very strong in his good fight. And he was a good example before young ones. He was a good deacon, and he knew that he was taking his spiritual program seriously. And one time he started saying really bad stuff. I'm putting bad pictures on my room. I'm looking at this on the internet. I go clubbing with my friends. I drink a lot, and sometimes I become drunken. But he sees him in the church, the same guy. He didn't change. He didn't slack. So he took him aside. He said, "Who are you? Which one? You can't be the two." So when Abuna Tadrus insisted to know what's going on with him, this wonderful guy told him, I'm the same person you've seen in the church, but my roommate is doing all that stuff. I tried talking with him many times, but he didn't want to listen. So I put it on myself that I'm gonna confess his sins as if they are mine, till God bring him. And Abuna hugged him and he said, "What a blessed person you are." And he said, "Would you allow me to work on this together?" I put his name on the altar. I do metanias for him. I pray for him. I kneel before the Lord. I mourn for him. And I'm sure God will comfort both of us. And after a while, I don't know how long, but this servant was in his room, and as he agreed with Abuna that he was kneeling before his bed in his room, and he was praying from his heart for his friend, roommate. And his roommate, his night was ruined, as if someone is spoiling his night for him. He couldn't go clubbing, he couldn't meet with that girl that they were planning to commit adultery. He couldn't enjoy or go through the same path on that night. So he went home early. And then he heard, while he was opening the door, he heard his roommate, that servant, praying for him, kneeling before the Lord for him. And he said, "I can't believe that I did this to you. I tortured you with all those pictures, with all the drinking smell, with all this lousy life that I went through." And he asked for the address of the church for the first time. And he went and he met Abuna Tadrus. And Abuna Tadrus knew him. And he said, "Welcome home. We were waiting for you for a very long time." Do we mourn for those lost souls, or we just focus on the number of people? How many people are praising us? How many people are happy that we are serving, commending our service, and that's what makes us in cloud nine. Whoever has the heart of the Lord, or the heart for service, will feel like, I need to mourn for those people. So do you think the time that I'm spending mourning is a wasted time? I don't think so, because through this time I learn patience, I learn love, I learn love my enemies who are torturing my life. I learn hope in the Lord. I learn forgiveness. I learn so many virtues, or I live them. So it shapes me. It changed my character. I will conclude with a story. Sorry, I said so many stories. I love stories, so bear with me. Last one. Before going to the story, I remember a very beloved character in the Bible, Joseph in the Old Testament. He was mourning so big time when he was sold by his own brothers, and they were seeing him dragged to Egypt, and he didn't know if he will see them again. He didn't even have a chance to say goodbye to his father. It's tough. And then he was a slave in Egypt. And when he was trying to be faithful, he was accused to be an adulterer. And he was innocent, but he felt the injustice. It's so heavy when you feel like people are dealing with you with injustice. And he was put in jail. And when God gave him like a hope, just a small light, a door is opening by this cupbearer to remember him before Pharaoh, he forgot him for 2 full years. The Bible is not written haphazard. It says 2 full years. He can say just 2 years. No. It's like I used to say it in the movies when they do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Every single day was marked, not only in the wall, but maybe in his heart. Why, God? I try to be faithful with you. Why even the guy that I told him the dream, why didn't he remember me? Why don't you remind him? Do you like it to spend the rest of my life in here? Isn't enough that I lost my father and I'm not anticipating to see him anymore? My brother sold me in here. I was faithful. You've seen all of this, and I know that you are just God. Why you allow this to happen to me? He was mourning, but I believe God somehow was comforting him. And I believe when the fullness of time came, he was so comforted when he became the second man of Egypt, when he saw his brothers coming asking for food from his hands, when he saw his father later on, and he hugged him for a very long time. So if we are mourning now for the right reasons, we're going to be comforted afterwards. The last story I'm going to say, and then I hope I didn't take more than the permitted time. It's about a guy who lived in Germany. This guy was rich, was very successful man. And because he was successful, he attracted many enemies, to the extent that his own family, brothers and sisters, mom and dad, they started envying him. So they were trying to find a way to get hold of his money. So they couldn't find a way other than this unpleasant way when they accused him that he is mentally ill. And they have to put him like in a hospital for mental health. Somehow they were successful in doing this. So he went in there. It's a true story. So he went in there and he was so angry at God. He didn't know him well, but he was so angry at his family. He couldn't believe that his own family would do this just to get his money. And God sent him a Christian nurse who felt like he needs a hand. He's mourning, and she was scared that he would do something to himself, or he'd lose hope. And she gave him a Bible. So he took the Bible from her hands and just threw it. And he said, if there is God, why he would allow this to happen to me? And then day after day, he got bored. And he started looking at that Bible on the ground. And he said, he started opening bit by bit. And believe it or not, he started reading Matthew, and he reached the Sermon on the Mountain. And he started having his eyes open for the first time. And he started feeling God's love inside that room in the mental health hospital. And he started to enjoy his residence in that hospital. And he didn't think how he would revenge or how to plan the revenge against his family. And he started feeling at peace. And one day, the nurse came to his room, and she found him writing something down on the wall. And she couldn't believe her eyes when he started saying this. I'm going to read it, I'm sorry, in Arabic. It's like a song, and then I'm going to translate it into English. He started writing down. It became like a song. I'm not sure if it's familiar. That's why I'm going to say it in Arabic. Maybe you're going to recognize it. It says, لو صار حبرا كل يم وورقا كل الفلك وكل عشبة قلم والكل في النسخ اشترك ما كتبوا ما وصفوا محبة الحبيب فاقت سمت فاضت طمت مقدارها عجيب. I'm not sure if you recognize that song. We used to sing it in Egypt. So it says, if all oceans became ink and the whole universe became paper to write on, and every grass became a pen, and all of them started writing together, they couldn't have explained or wrote the love of our beloved Lord. It's so huge. It's way more than anything we have done. It's the magnitude is marvelous. That's someone who experienced the love of God during the mourning time. So when he was mourning, he was comforted by God. God is capable of comforting us even when we are mourning. Once we settle down and we pay attention, we hear his voice, very gentle, coming to comfort our souls. So when we are tortured, remember that we are going to be having great grace coming our way, and we're going to be comforted by him who went through the same pain or more. I wish I could have shared a few words on those two verses, and I wish that we all live poor in spirit, and even if we are mourning, we know that God is going to be around the corner, comforting us and giving us this beautiful feeling of his presence. Once he's there, he's going to be comforting us. One time we were talking about Titus. Maybe one time we can talk about it if God allows. Titus, the disciple of St. Paul, he was a source of comfort to St. Paul himself. That's why we can be sources of comfort. We can be God's hands and legs and tools to comfort one another. And God can utilize us to comfort those who are mourning, those who are lost, those who can't find happiness or joy in this life. If my fathers wanted to add anything or answer any question, because I'm so comforted that my fathers are around, so I'm not gonna be in a corner to answer questions. I know all my fathers are here to support and pray. So if anyone has any question, I think you can ask one of my fathers.
It's like, if you allow me, I would love to share the poem that you just read, or the song that you just read. It's
Sure.
actually a very old Catholic hymn that used to be sung in the Catholic Church, and I have it in English. If you allow me, I'll just share those words for those who want to hear it in English.
Please.
It's in older English, but it's beautiful. It says, "Could we with ink the oceans fill, and were the skies of parchments made, were every stalk on earth a quill, and every man a scribe by trade, to write the love of God above would drain the oceans dry, nor could the scroll contain the whole, though stretched from sky to sky." It's very beautiful.
Wow. If you please can send it to me, Abuna.
حاضر أبوي حاضر.
نشكر ربنا الواحد لا فهمها بالعربي ولا بالانجليزي. The Arabic is hard and the English is hard, بس
The English is harder.
the essence انا I felt it from ابونا, so I يعني بس I didn't catch any word of it, بس يعني نشكر الله يعني كل واحد على قد فهمه يعني.
بس عشان poor in spirit يا أبي.
So talking about poor in spirit يا أبي, I mean definitely I am challenging with the achievements. طبعا you are saying that how we need to seek the glory of God, بس we are يعني I am surrounded with achievements. I need to see numbers. I need to see things. حتى when I'm saying a sermon, طب the sermon دي يعني the people they understand it. So it's so practically I'm seeking for feedback, and unfortunately this feedback طبعا will boost in me this small thing that I am pleased with the positive feedback. So how can I go back to the right and proper understanding of poor spirit?
Any of my fathers I know, Abuna George يعني knows the answer, but
صدقني ابدا.
he's testing me. If any of my father would like to answer, or I can I say my 2 cents as well at the end. Anyone? I think there is a book about service talking about how deceitful numbers could be. Of course, it's nice to know a feedback. Definitely, Abuna, لأنه I can't be like living in a different world. I serve the way I want, and people are in another world. Definitely I need feedback, and definitely I need to improve myself and reach out to others. It's always gonna come to what is my goal. I'm trying to attract many people. I'm trying to let them say that Abuna is good. Abuna is attracting the youth. Abuna is doing a very good job. Abuna is having so many followers. مش عارف بقى in Facebook ولا in إيه. Abuna is well known. Abuna's sermons are very strong. Is it that what will feed my ego? Or I'm seeking to reach out to everyone, so everyone will be touched by God's heart, and everyone would change their ways, not for me, but for God, for their eternity. I think the focus should be, or the goal should be known. What is my goal? Because if I put a goal, I need to work to achieve it. So if the goal is me, then me and the people that I'm serving are in very bad position. But if the goal is God, then it's different story. I'm not going to be even deceived by the number of people, because Jesus left the 99 sheep and he went for the one. So even if 99%, and I think that's very high percentage, are happy with my sermon, are happy with my service, but there's still that one person. So I need to go after and bring to God. So that's why I believe the goal is very important, and I need to be very honest with myself. Where is my goal? Because if the goal to build my glory, I feel bad for my people, or the people that I'm serving, or my class. But if the goal is just to bring people to God, bring people to the kingdom of heaven, have them inherit what is theirs, then I'm working with God, not against Him. That's my 2 cents, but I believe my fathers may have a better answer, I think.
It is tough practically. It is tough, yeah, I think.
Yeah. We get caught with the demands of the service. People who are always commenting, oh, this one was good, so I feel dragged to their nice comments. Sometimes people are being nice. I'm not gonna go to Abuna and say, oh, the sermon was horrible today, but it's nice compliment. So sometimes those compliments make me boosting and make me lose sight of my goal. That's why I was just saying, and I believe my fathers may agree, if I have like every day quiet time to see how many people I brought to God, not to me, what made me happy today. Is it people commending me, or that there are souls that started to get in touch with God? So if I'm honest with myself, I know that I can differentiate between the two. But if I'm just serving all the time, don't have time to sit with God, I think it's easy to be deceived or deviating from my goal. I mean, if the goal is right from the beginning, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I mean, I'm talking كده المفروض my fathers to comment on this. Abuna Anthony is being quiet, and Abuna David, first time to see him.
تعيش تعلمنا يا أبي.
Aish Abi. Abuna David is from Ottawa too, from the same church, or no?
living in Ottawa, serving in Kingston.
In Kingston.
يعني أوتاواوي لا غش فيه.
ربنا يبارك خدمة قدسك يا أبي.
ربنا يبارك فيك. صلوات قدسك يا أبي.
I think I took more than my time, maybe.
I'm not sure if there are any comments or questions from anyone. أنا ما استأذنش قدسك، بس إحنا we are posting in both YouTube and Facebook. يعني طبعا ما أقدرش أقول after permission it has been an hour, so يعني معلش يعني.
No يا أبي. No. أنا بس يعني كنت I wish إنه حد تاني يعني who's
Thank you.
can go through these channels يعني.
No, it's very deep and very profound and very spiritual and يعني God bless you God. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and
Thank you.
and we'll next time we know. So the topic you mentioned that we'd like to talk about Titus, so let it be according to Abuna Anthony is the one putting the topic, so خلاص. So you know the next series where Abuna Anthony will be in the end.
This one is reserved for me.
تعيش يا أبي، ربنا يخليك.
Thank you, Abi Khamis. Thank you for the invite, and please pray for me, and we're gonna ask for your blessings for our meetings too, inshallah.
So we'll conclude with prayer unless Abuna Anthony, do you have any comments or any announcements?
No, nothing on my end.
Okay, so as you heard from the Slack channel, and so
مش سامعينك يا ابويا. أنا مش عارف لو قلت بتتكلم ولا لأ، بس we can't hear you.
maybe I'm frozen.
There you
go. I have a connection unstable. I was just commenting on the rules right now in the church, that nothing will change as per the government right now, but
هو ربنا مش عايزنا نسمع الاناونسمنت دي. معلش يا ابويا الصوت قطع تاني. لا احنا شايفينك بتبتسم بس we have no idea what you're saying.
I have no idea. So I was commenting on the rules. So if
أيوة.
you know better, so you can take it from there. But.
لا هو basically I think what Abuna is saying, nothing has changed with the government, بس بنصلي إن ربنا يستر يعني at any point in time things can change. فاحنا we're trying to be overly cautious right now in making sure that every age group, no matter what, when in church, is respecting social distancing and wearing their masks. We completely shut down the gym. There is not going to be any more physical proximity between anyone. We will try to hold on to the major services, طبعا including the liturgical prayers as much as possible until further notice. بس احنا بنتابع day by day and we'll see where things take us يعني. But please keep referring back to Slack and to the announcements by the fathers and the coordinators to know how we will progress moving forward.
And I think also, I'm not sure that you can hear me. We'll have also Zoom within the in-class, so we have both of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
اتفضل يا دانيال.
لا اتفضل يا أبي، ما أبونا صلى وأنا اتكلمت فقلتك اختم لنا. اتفضل.
أنا حتى ما عنديش صوت أهو بيروح ويجي فقلتك you are the Stephen.
أبونا
اتفضل اختم علينا يا ابني.
طيب حلوني يا أبي. Name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. We thank you, our dear Lord, for such a blessing to come around your Bible and Sermon on the Mountain when you taught us what Christianity is. Help us, O Lord, to grow and to achieve being poor in spirit. Help us not to be proud or on Satan's side. Help us to be around you. We thank you for all the blessings. We thank you for all the tribulations. We thank you for the times when we feel down, because at that time the kingdom of heaven is ours. We thank you even when we sin, because you put us and make us humble. Help us always, O Lord, to fight the good fight, and always to feel that without you we are nothing. We can't do it, but with you we can do everything. Bless us, O Lord, and help us at the time of mourning, and grant us this comfort that will delight our souls. Help us to be with you, around you. Help us to have such a good heart like yours, so we can feel for the lonely one, the one who had no one, the one who is a troublemaker, the one who is going through rough time, the naughty one, the lost sheep, so we can be like your example, O Lord, being a good shepherd. We thank you for allowing us to serve your holy name while we're still lost sheep. Bless us, O Lord. Bless the service everywhere. Bless the service of my fathers and every church, so every soul will be comforted by you. Help us to be your hands and the tools that you're using to reach out for your kids, wherever they are. Help us never to look down to anyone. Help us to be sensitive like you, and spread your love with everyone we meet. Bless us and accept our prayers, O Lord, through the intercession of our beloved Saint Mary, Saint George, Saint Anthony, Saint John the Beloved, Pope Kyrillos, all saints, all angels who pleased you ever since the beginning, and through the prayers of my fathers, allow us, O Lord, to call you Dad with all thanksgiving, as you taught us, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. On earth as it is in heaven, give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Christ Jesus our Lord, and the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you, my fathers. So nice to see all of you, and see Manel Schneider. One person I recognize, but I believe they're wonderful servants. So thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to have your blessings also in our church. Thanks to Zoom. It's connecting.
Thank you, Buya, for your love. Thank you so much for blessing us, Yab. A huge blessing.
It's my blessing and my honor.